Good morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another video. Feels like it's been forever since I picked up the camera. A lot of interesting stuff has been going on in my life. As you can see in the shop, it is a little more empty in here than usual. We did end up getting rid of a car. The gray 10, the low mileage 10 is now gone. It's staying here, somewhat local in Washington State. So we may see it around here and there. A couple weeks ago, I let you guys know that I'm taking a little bit of a step back from filming everything, and my plan was initially to like film 3 to 4 videos per week, and it's been like 1 video a week right now, and I apologize for that. A lot of bullshit has come up in my personal life with my health and whatnot, and of course that takes much higher priority than making content, unfortunately. So I haven't even been in the damn shop at all for a while, other than to sell the Evo 10. We haven't worked on any cars. We haven't done anything, feels like, in weeks. I'm good. I should be good. I hope, at least. I knew there was some health issues that I had going on like a while ago. And then after like seeing some blood work come back and shit's all messed up. So we got to get that handled. We'll get it taken care of. I may go into in depth later on, like what exactly is going on or why it's going on. But just if I have a piece of advice for you guys, like all the shit that you guys see me do every day is super cool. I love building all these cars, but unfortunately spending 18 plus hours a day for years on end, neglecting my internal health to build everything that we've built has taken its toll. So we'll be good. I'll be back, hopefully better than ever here shortly. My nose keeps running and it's a bitch. Honestly, I had 2 choices to make, 2 ways I could route my life. I could sit here and cry about all the not good stuff that's going on and sit there and do nothing about it, or we could just keep moving on and keep moving forward and keep progressing. And I finally realized that is what I need to do for my mental health, is understand that there's shit going on that is gonna be out of my control for a while, and that I just need to keep moving forward. So we are gonna build the damn engine today. I have a lot of motors to build right now, and starting off, we are gonna tackle a good old closed deck setup for Gary. We have pretty much everything here. The cases are here, pistons are over there, rods. We're doing 1/2-inch head studs. I just picked up the heads today. These are fully brand new, rebuilt heads with GSC springs, retainers. There's one thing that may hold us back from getting this entire engine built in this video, and that is the cam gears. This thing did have a rod bearing failure, so I do need to get the cam gears pulled apart. That is a 5-star socket. It's a security socket, and I do not have one, so I ordered one up. It's not gonna be here for a while, so I'm trying to find a different option here locally. But without further ado, let's move on, and I wanna pull everything out of the boxes and show you guys exactly what's going down with this engine build for Bobby's STI. All right, let's run through the bread and butter of this engine build. It's nothing insane, nothing crazy, but it should last, hopefully. We're replacing everything. Here we have a out front closed deck block, 99.75 mil, 1/2-inch head studs. We did not do pin mains or ARP case bolts. That's one thing I wish I would have done, but for this power level, it'll be fine. It'll be completely fine. Moving on to the pistons. So UEM reached out a while back. UEM is United Engine and Machine Co. They reached out and said they had this new piston they're coming out with and asked if I want to test them out. And I said, sure. So check this out. The top of the piston is, and I'll go more in depth later on these when we're actually installing them. As you can see here, these things have a dimpled piston top. They're coated on the sides, coated on the top. A very interesting design. I'll go more in depth, like I said, later on. But these are the UEM pistons. We're doing some Manley rods. Here is some ACL bearings, firelog gaskets, brand new OEM Subaru crank, new OEM Subaru oil cooler, OEM Subaru oil pump. valve cover seals. Killer bee, that's probably the baffle. Pickup, we're doing the Blue Gates racing timing belt. I don't know why it's blue, but the blue one's the racing one. So hopefully we don't have any problems there. I don't know why I have more bearings, but I got more. And then just random gaskets and seals and whatnot. Some actual confirmed true NGK plugs. And then for the headwork, we just did the springs and retainers from GSC. Stock valves, stock cams, just so we don't have to retune the car, because we can't retune the car anymore because of the whole green speed deal going on. So thankfully the car is already tuned and we do not have to retune this car at all for the setup, being that we're doing factory cams and factory compression ratio. So we should be 100% good to go. Very excited to get one less car knocked off the list. Stoked to get Gary back up on the road, and then we still have Bobby's Evo 10 to build, which we're still waiting on one specific part for that, which has been taking forever. Hopefully we can get Gary done by the time the part for her Evo 10 comes, and then we can move on to that car. All right, you guys already know the drill. First thing we're gonna do is go ahead and measure out main and rod bearing clearances with our ACL bearings. I just showed you guys this whole thing with the hatch build. We have standard and we have, which is H, and then we have HX as well, which is just an 001 oversized bearing. So we're gonna go ahead and get the mains and rods dialed in. This always takes a little bit of time, and then we can move on to measuring out our pistons. And I'll try to explain to the best of my ability why they seem like such a tight fit, because they are very, very, very tight fit. It's an interesting design, and I'm hoping it works well for us. All right, so you guys just see what I did there. What we have is rod number 1, initially assembled with both standard size bearings. We went ahead and mic'd out the crank, zeroed out the mics, used the T-gauge in the rod, measured out the T-gauge. Initially it was 0.125, which is a little tight. Slapped in 1 extra oil clearance bearing shell into the cap, and we ended up with 0.0175, which is beautiful. I'm gonna finish up the rods and then we can hit the mains. All right, final numbers. Rod, and then main, 001819, 195, 1819. Excited we got all the bearing clearances finished up. Now let's go ahead and talk about these pistons. So these are UEM pistons. It is their Icon Forged Series piston. And as you guys can see, there's some dimpling on the top of the piston. Very interesting, right? Coated on the skirts, dimpling on the top. There's a lot of things with these pistons that I have never seen, never heard of until now. So let's talk about the dimpling on the top real quick. And I'm sure some of you guys have seen articles about this dimpling. It's some sort of new technology and I don't know much about it, so I'll kind of briefly try to explain it. It's supposed to hypothetically make your engine more efficient, which in turn should give you more power, more torque, and less emissions and better fuel economy. That is the studies and technology that they've done with the dimpling on the top. Now there is some coating on the skirts of the pistons, and I honestly don't know what kind of coating this is. It may be some sort of Cerakote or maybe something else. Now if you're gonna pick up a set of these UEM pistons, the way they explained it on the phone is pretty much like a self fit type of thing. It's very, very interesting because as you guys can see, like they're a tight fit. Like that's tight. Yeah, it's very tight. But I sent these pistons down to Outfront when Outfront closed the deck, and they are the ones that did all the boring and the machine work on everything. And of course they're a very reputable company, so I trust that they did it properly. But it shows here on the sheet, pre-coated off-the-shelf piston set, which is what those are. Locate the as machined uncoated skirt diameter, and then you bore off of that. So as this engine breaks in, some of this coating is going to wear off. And once again, hypothetically speaking, this engine should run a little bit quieter than, let's say, a 4.5 thousandths piston wall clearance with no coating. Hopefully that makes sense. I try to explain it the best I could without just rambling on. Big thank you to UEM for sending out these pistons. I'm excited to test them out, and hopefully they work well for us. Now let's move on to setting the ring end gap. All right, we are ready for assembly. So we have the cases completely apart again. I took all the bearing shells out. I'm gonna go ahead and clean these things up with some brake clean. We gotta get the crank cleaned up, the rods cleaned up, and then we can go ahead and start slapping some stuff together. So we now have a complete short block. Pan is on. We got the Killer Bee baffle and pickup on. Everything's complete. New oil pump is on. We are ready for some top end stuff. Before we throw the heads on, I need to run down to Subaru. We need to pick up a crank, the timing sprocket. I accidentally cracked the one when it was coming off. I get that. I gotta get the little Woodruff key for that sprocket, and then all 4 cam seals. I forgot to order the cam seals online, and they're about 10 times as expensive here at the dealer, but we need them. So let's head down in the hatch and pick up some goodies. Pulled up to the dealer, got all the parts I needed, and look what showed up. An all black 2022 WRX. I have seen one that's growing on me. I think it's the Aeroflow Dynamics car. That's red and it's all paint matched. She looks pretty good. Other than that, not the biggest fan. We are ready to move on to the cylinder head. So here's our heads. We have our gaskets here with the fire locks, and here are the ARP 1/2-inch studs. Beefy boys. Them things go quite a bit tighter than a standard ARP 2000. That was hard. All right, one head is torqued. Thought I was gonna pull the threads out of the block, but I did not. Now we can get the cam caps on and hit the driver's side. Hi.
Where the frick is the Evo at?
The gray one?
Yeah.
Come on.
What? I didn't get to say goodbye to it?
You can say hi to your engine.
Whoa! Hello, Gary's engine.
Hopefully you don't blow this one up. Huh.
Yeah, hopefully you don't.
No, you.
I would.
You,
I haven't.
you premeditatedly hurt the last one.
Yeah.
And then I finished her off.
Yeah.
Here she is. You like?
I love.
You see? Nice block. Here, this is how you know it's built. Hold this. Actually, here, flip it. Turn the engine over.
What? How do I do that?
Just grab the handle and flip it. Other way. Go this way. Look. See? Out front.
Wow, that's a nice engine.
Closed deck.
Wow.
Pretty sweet, huh?
Yeah, it is really sweet.
You ready to haul ass again?
Yes. I'm ready to be in my own car. I don't want no Plotzy BRZ. That's like 100 horsepower.
200.
Oh.
All right, my dudes, we have the entire engine complete except for all the Titan component. I can't get the cam gears on yet because I still want to pull those apart. I'm worried that there's going to be some copper in there, so we have to get the proper tool or the proper socket to get those things apart. I know some people say don't take them apart, but I'd rather take them apart, and if I mess them up then replace them versus just throw them back on the car with probably copper in there based off how much copper there was in the rest of the engine. But here she is, complete from cover to cover. Stoked to finally have this thing done. It's kind of weird how everything worked out because that car was supposed to be built before this car, but being that Evo parts are taking forever, the Subi is going to be back up in the road very, very shortly. We have a few things to button up tomorrow. Of course, we have the cam gears. We still have the turbo to reassemble, get all the timing stuff done, drop the motor in the car. And I'm not sure if it's gonna be running tomorrow or maybe this weekend, but hopefully within the next few days, if all goes planned, which it should, the car should be back in Bobby's hands, hopefully this weekend. Every single part that we installed on this engine, all the aftermarket stuff, I will link down below, from the block to the springs and retainers, pistons, all that good stuff. Rods. I'll link everything down below if you guys want to build a similar setup for your car. I'm not sure what this engine's good for. If I had to guess, I would say it's a solid 800 horsepower build. The only thing we did not do is the pin mains and ARP case bolts. We did everything else, of course, except for cams. And once again, we didn't do cams because we are sticking with the 5858. And if we were going to a bigger turbo, say like a 6.4, we would definitely do some bigger cams. But being that all the green speed BS is going on right now, both Bobby and I and Josh would rather just keep the car as is. It ran perfectly fine. It made insane power, and it's going to be dead reliable with this overbuilt engine for a little last turbo. So we should be good. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Peace out, my friends. I will see you guys tomorrow. Probably not tomorrow, actually. It's been a while, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully tomorrow, but with everything going on, it could be another week.